Hello, City of Champions. Shane here again, and today I had the pleasure of speaking with my friend Kalynn Park. Now, Kalynn is a curler, an Olympic hopeful for the 2018 South Korea Games. In fact, Kalynn comes from a lineage of curlers. Both her parents and grandparents were curlers as well. Kalynn and I discussed some really fascinating insight into the sport, what her training regiment looks like, characters in the sport, and that competitive fire that may or may not have caused a couple blow-ups on or off the ice at some point in her career. And we talk about what it means to be chasing an Olympic dream and following in her parents' and grandparents' footsteps. So without further ado, please enjoy my chat with Kalynn Park.
Figured that out.
If we start seeing our breasts, then we'll have to shut it down.
It'll be fine.
I did
That's why we wear a toque.
Exactly, and we both got coats here. Well, I did one here that was when it was still sunny and hot.
Yeah.
And I turned the AC off, and we were like sweating. We're like, all right, that's enough. We got to get out of here. Yeah. It gets cold quick though.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, so let's talk about curling. That's why we're here today.
Curling.
Why'd you get into curling?
So I grew up in a curling family. My dad. I started when I was 5, like I was practically born in the curling club. So my mom curled, but then she met my dad and kind of gave it up after that. But yeah, I was born into it, really. So I started when I was 5, and then I just kept curling in my junior league, and then strangely enough, I got picked up by 19-year-olds when I was 12 because they knew my family, and ended up like almost winning a provincial championship at the age of 12, and then I lost like 6 in a row and then finally went. So it was just like I always had an opportunity, and I just got right into it. How
did the junior ranks work? Like, you get picked up by a team and then you stick with that team, or when you're younger do you go with different teams and experiment?
You kind of do. You flip-flop around a lot. So like I had 5 junior teams when I was in my junior career, and then near the end, though, I really had one solid team from while I was skipping for about 3 or 4 years that I kind of won most of my stuff with.
Right.
And then I ended up, for my last junior year, moving on to a different team and playing a completely different position.
Yeah.
But you kind of just like are trying to get the most experience as you can before you go into women's. Right.
And you won juniors in 2007?
2007, 2009.
Okay. So that would have been what? How old are you in juniors? Is that U20?
U20.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like 18 and 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain for me, who's a very amateur in my knowledge of curling, and for a lot of people too, what the different positions entail.
Sure. So like on your regular 4-woman team, you got your lead, second, third, and skip. Each position being completely different from one another.
Okay.
I currently play second because I'm known to be able to throw a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So lead, you're more of like a draw, soft shot type of person. Second, you're kind of the cleanup. Third, you got to be good at everything, and obviously at skip, you got to be good under pressure. So your skip is your go-to.
Skip's always last?
Yes.
Okay, and you're second, so you're the power thrower.
Yeah, and I throw rocks number 3 and 4 out of 8.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask this too, like how important is fitness in curling? Because to the average watcher, you wouldn't really understand, but I think from talking to you before, like you've got a pretty intense fitness regimen.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, I would say that me and Charlie, my mixed doubles partner, take fitness a lot more seriously than not anyone in the sport does, because it's very serious, but we've in the last few years really upped it because we've noticed the level of fitness going up, especially after the every time there's an Olympics, fitness just skyrockets because you notice that it's a huge part of the game now. So it's incredibly important in curling.
So I mean, what do you like? Is it strength? Is it muscle? Is it endurance? Is it your breath? Like what are the important factors there? And like what physically while you're curling, while you're playing the sport, is taxing?
Sure. So in my women's curling, like I throw 2 rocks, but I sweep 6 of 8. So I'm constantly sweeping. If there's ice that you get on and you just have to sweep every rock, you have to be able to do that, and you have to be able to give 100% for that 15 seconds that it's going down the ice or whatever it is. So endurance and muscle endurance, and obviously your cardiovascular is huge because you have to be putting power in while still being able to breathe.
Right.
So if anyone wants to go like sweep for 15 seconds all out, like 6 rocks in a row for 10 ends, it's incredibly difficult.
Are you sore after a match?
Yeah, like, so I just got back from the pre-trials in Summerside with my women's team, and I like my entire right side of my body is like, it's toast.
Yeah. You must have to reset sometimes too and like rebalance the body because it's so one-sided, right?
Yeah, so yeah, my right hand side of my body is a lot different than my left because of sweeping. It's just the way it is. And yeah, my chiropractor is just, what is this? Your body is so messed up. It's a weird thing that you don't think about when you think of curling. I mean, it is hard on your body. Like, my knees are a mess. I have a bad hip, bad shoulder. Like, I'm a mess.
It's like you're playing a contact sport out there.
It does feel like that sometimes. So it is, yeah. And obviously, we have programs to be able to balance your body out. Yeah. So
have you tried yoga?
No.
Yoga's good.
I should look into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the person for you.
There, perfect.
So, I mean, depending on, of course, which position you play, your fitness level varies. Like, there's people play curl until they're 50 or 60, right? Like, who's the oldest competitive player in the game right now?
Honestly, my skip, like Shannon, she's 49.
Right.
She's still got it. Like, it's insane. And a big part of curling is knowing the game. It's like chess on ice, right? So there's so many different things that can happen, and having experience is a huge part of it. So just, yeah, she's very, very good, and it's because she just knows how to curl. She's very talented.
So what does the practice entail?
It depends if I'm playing mixed doubles or regular women's curling, but I honestly, because I can hit very well, I throw hundreds of draws. I just throw what I'm bad at. So for me, I just go out there and I literally try to hit the button as many times in a row as possible.
Right. So how many will you throw before you kind of go to the other side and reset and go the other way?
I'll throw 16 down and then 16 back, and I just keep going.
Oh, okay, interesting. So you just sort of play, it'd be like practicing pool. You just go in and start banging them around and see what happens, see the different scenarios that unfold. Oh, okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and you aim, like you have targets. So, yeah, like you're not just shooting.
Is it team practice or solo or both?
It depends on the situation. I team practice, and obviously if you're team practicing, there's sweeping involved, line calling involved. Yeah. Communication is huge. But my solo practices, I literally just throw draws.
You get in the zone
all day.
Do you listen to music?
If there's music out on the ice, but I don't put headphones in or anything.
Is ice difficult to get? Like if you wanted to go practice by yourself for 5 hours a day, is that really expensive, or is it?
It is for like I would say the normal person. It's not hard for if you're in the Olympic trials and stuff, because they cater to you.
Gotcha.
They want you to be out there.
Right.
So they make it easy and accessible, which is great. But it has been hard in the past to get ice. Yeah.
So Summerside, you were with Team
Clybrink.
That's how you say it, and you guys didn't come out victorious on that one.
Unfortunately, that was a pretty rough go. I mean, the system was different this year. It was an unusual thing that we were involved in, which we were playing a tiebreaker at like 3 a.m. Yeah. To get into playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. Unusual, but that's what good teams do. They battle through it. And
why did you have to play at 3 a.m?
We almost had a 7-way tie in a 7-team round robin, to determine like who was first, second, third in the pool, and everyone almost had a 3-3 record. So the way it was, if we would have won our last round robin game, we would have just gone into the playoffs free and clear, first place. We ended up losing, which sucks. And then there was 4 other teams tied with us, and we just got placed at the bottom and had to work our way up.
Got the worst draw.
We did.
Oh, that's frustrating. So that would have enabled you to then go to the Road to the Roar?
Roar of the Rings.
Roar of the Rings.
Yes. Which
this was the Road to the Roar.
Yes.
Super confusing, but I'm getting it.
I know, it's crazy.
I did a little bit of research beforehand.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a bummer. It never good when your Olympic dream dies. in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Because you work for 4 years and then it comes down to 1 week and you just have to be good that time.
Yeah. Throughout this season, as you're playing different tournaments and invitationals and whatever you call them, is the Olympics always the goal in mind, or is it like, I'll worry about that in 3 years from now? Is it everything leading up to the Olympics all the time? It
kind of is now. I mean, the Olympics is like, it's the pinnacle of sport. Yeah. Everyone wants to be an Olympian. So you're picking and choosing your schedule based on the points available at the event, the money involved. You really do think about it from the time you step on the ice in year one to now where it's happening.
Right. And there's no league like hockey players. They say, you don't grow up dreaming to win an Olympic gold. You grow up to you dream growing up to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist in a lot of sports, right?
No, yeah. So it is like, I mean, these Grand Slams that we have now, we didn't, when I was growing up watching curling, that wasn't a thing. It's the Scott Tournament of Hearts is a big deal.
Yeah.
I would say it's obviously a huge deal, but the Olympics is it. I mean, that's what you want.
Right. Now, with that being said, you're out of the team contention, but you've got mixed doubles now, which is a new Olympic sport for 2018.
Yes.
How long have you been playing mixed doubles?
Charlie and I have been playing mixed doubles since 2013, so quite a while. We're one of the first teams to do this seriously.
Right. Why did you start?
So I was living with Charlie. We have a very interesting story.
Okay.
Charlie and I.
This sounds good.
Charlie and I became friends at curling camp when we were like 11 and 12, and just like we're best friends ever since. I was living at Charlie's house in Calgary at the time, and I came home from work or something. Anyway, Charlie's watching this like 2-person curling on the TV. He's got like his computer, his laptop like all put out into the TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? And why are you watching this bad curling on TV?
Right.
Like, it was weird curlers play, like it just no one it's 2 people, like countries that you've never heard of. You're like, what is this? Kind of interesting. And so he's like, I really think we need to try this. He's like, there's a national championship for this. This could be it. This is how we make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, let's look it up. So sure enough, we look up this national championship. We enroll. Like, you could just sign up then. We go and we win every single game, lose the final. And we're like, oh, no, this is terrible. But you want to keep playing.
That was back in 2013?
Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, that's sucky. Whatever. We get invited back as runner-up, win the whole thing, go to Sochi 2014, play in the Olympic venue. Like,
so that was the world, that would be like the World Championships of mixed doubles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we played in April, so it was literally 2 months after the Olympics.
Right.
So it was so crazy to see that. Like,
it's like a trial run for the Olympics. You're like, hey, I'm here. This is kind of what it's like.
Yeah, like this is what it's going to be like. This is amazing. So that's what we did, and sure enough, it got bid into the Olympics for this, like right after that. So it was named an Olympic sport. So Charlie and I got completely carded and funded, and we got all these opportunities because we actually put the time into learning it.
Right.
It's completely different. So
can you double dip between funding from the, what do you call it, a 4-person team? Women's team, and also mixed doubles? Is there funding for both in separate pockets?
There is funding for both, but to be A-carded, I think you can only get one.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, so I don't think you can do that. They'd give it to someone else on the, next up.
I was also reading that people who 4-player teams that are going to the Olympics can't compete in the qualifiers for the mixed doubles, right? The Canad-ins.
Yeah, on January 2nd. So yeah, so we have 16 teams named in our trial right now, and if any one of them were to win the trials, so obviously there are certain teams that Charlie and I are rooting for in this because it would take out a lot of the teams in the mixed doubles trials.
Oh, I see. So right now there's 18 mixed doubles teams set up.
Yes.
So anyone who makes the national team for 4s cannot go in mixed doubles. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's say Rachel Homan's team and Brad Gushu's team, which are 2 great picks for the Olympic trials, win and go as 4s. That's 8 mixed doubles teams that they have to pick up a new player or they're not going to be in it.
Right. 8, because each one of those people has their own team?
Yes.
Oh, they wouldn't also be on the same team with each other?
Right.
Why not? if they're all like that good?
Well, they do. So like Rachel plays with John Morris. Brad Gushue plays with Val Sweeting. So they all have great teammates, but they're on opposite. They're not on the same team as the other.
Oh, okay.
So
I see
like,
what you're saying.
Charlie and I've looked at this.
Yeah. You've got your bracket set up, like you know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm like, this is And so not saying like we're ready to play whoever, but it never helps if like things work your way, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Miracles need to happen in order to go to the Olympics for anyone.
Right, exactly. Same with any sport.
Any sport. Things need to
playoff bracket,
work.
you get an easy draw or something like that. So how different are the two games between standard and mixed doubles?
Incredibly different.
Okay.
And people are just starting to realize that. Like, our head coach is Jeff Stoughton, and until he kind of started to play it himself and get right in there, I don't think he even realized how different it was. Like, it is so different.
Okay.
Like, you only throw 5 stones.
Okay.
So I throw number 1 and 5, and Charlie throws the middle 3. And a rock is placed depending on if you have ham or not.
Okay.
At the beginning of each end.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And then there's power plays involved.
Power plays?
Yeah, you can move the rocks to the side.
What?
Yeah. 1 per game when you have hammer.
Okay. Like,
it's to try to generate multiple points.
Okay.
Yeah, so both rocks are moved to the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Holy, that's confususing.
Crazy.
So who started playing this? Who was the first team that said, we're just going to play with 2?
It honestly started in Europe.
Yeah.
Because those countries are great at curling, but they can't always get a 4-person team together.
Right.
So like you have teams like Turkey playing in our championships, Israel,
Really?
Kazakhstan,
Cool.
like these teams that are actually coming out and playing very well because that's all they do. They're committed to mixed doubles.
Yeah. And they want to be Olympians, so they kind of choose the road less traveled.
Yeah.
It's like skeleton, right?
That is. Yeah.
Like,
pick something strange and just get really good at it.
I think that's awesome. That's such a cool route to go, and the timings obviously worked really well for you.
Yeah.
Going into Pyeongchang.
Yes.
Right? So how do you place your chances? Do you think you've got pretty good?
I mean, anything can happen at any given time. Charlie and I have been amazing at times, and we've been very terrible. It happens all the time, but we're just we've completely arranged our lives to be able to like focus 110% on this, and we're working very hard every day. Like, there's not a day that we're not working at something to try and make it better. So we're just going in with the attitude that we've done all we can at this point, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But I do like our chances. We've beat all these teams before.
Really? That's got to go a long way.
It does. Just knowing that, and the confidence knowing it, that you can beat them, right? So
how big is the mental factor in curling?
huge.
Yeah.
Like, I've spent a lot of time just sitting in a cold hockey rink thinking, like, to myself or in my own head, like, what are you going to do when you get a chance to win the trials? Like, I have to throw that shot. So it could be the easiest shot in the world, but I don't know what that's going to feel like because it's never happened before.
Right.
So
A lot of visualization.
Yeah, I work with sports psychologists and stuff because I just don't know.
So what do they tell you?
You have to physically put yourself in that situation. Like, visualization is a huge part of it. Meditating. I use Headspace, the app and stuff, because there's nothing else you can do because you can't replicate it. Like, you can't tell yourself. Like, in practice, lots of the time before I'll leave, I'll have to like put 2 right on the pinhole before I can leave because I put myself there. I'm like, okay, if you make this shot, you win, kind of thing, and you're not leaving until you do it.
Yeah. And you find that's an effective way of doing it? Like, when you get into that position, you're like, I've done this a million times in practice before?
Yeah. And it's just about everything. So, like, everything has to remain consistent. You have to, like, slow down your breathing. You have to, like, just put yourself in the present. You have to do everything the exact same.
What's the dynamic between you and Charlie out there when you're competing?
Some people think we're just very interesting. Like, it's like brother and sister, so we can snap, and we've been working on eliminating what we call a barnyard explosion out there because we have had some very big blow-ups with each other because it gets tense. Like, there's only 2 of you doing the job of 4 people usually, and you're both trying so hard, but you don't know. Like, Charlie and I aren't great at knowing what the other person always is looking to hear, and that's the challenge.
Right.
But then you think back and you're like, there's husbands and wives that do this, so
Yeah.
we can do this.
Yeah, I was reading an article about that. It's saying that there's several out there,
Yeah.
husband-wife teams, and that it's a good way to test a marriage, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
like Jen and Brent, Jen Jones, Brent Lang do it, Dawn and Mike McEwen. Like, it's a weird dynamic, I think, but they're good enough curlers that obviously it's going to work.
Yeah. What struck me is, like, is that not bringing work and home life, like, way too close together?
I would say so, but I mean, Charlie and I, like, live in the same place too.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're just, okay, I need a break from
Yeah,
you.
for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you're going to be comfortable with one another, then that's, that's going to make you better teammates at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day too, if Charlie and I, everyone knows that Charlie and I love mixed doubles, and this is like what we've been trying to work for so long. Like, we put everything into it. It would be a very special experience to win it with Charlie. I mean, winning it with your best friend, I don't even know what that would feel like, right? You can't think about it. So
if you could only pick one route to go, because right now you can kind of do both, right?
Yeah.
And if had you let's say you had made the Olympics for a 4-woman team, would you have then forgone the mixed doubles?
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I would expect Charlie to do the same thing because he was also at the Road to the Roar.
Right.
Winning a women's championship or a men's championship is a huge deal, and it still will always be like a very big goal.
Okay, so that's the top goal.
Right now it is.
Yeah.
I think mixed doubles will get bigger. Obviously, for Charlie and I now, that is the only goal. Going forward, like, I haven't even thought about what's going to happen in the years to come. Like, who knows what's going to happen? But there's more money to be won on the mixed doubles side now too.
Oh.
So it's actually equaling out.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see lots of people now shift to just focusing on the one. Right.
Was there a trial run in the past Olympics? Like in 2014, did they have it as a trial sport?
No, it wasn't. Charlie and I would say that us going to Sochi would have been kind of the demonstration of at that time.
Gotcha.
We also played in a couple things that I'm pretty sure that the IOC was looking in on. We played in this international tournament down in New Zealand with all of like the Olympic kind of qualified teams.
Yeah.
Just to see like what it's like, how exciting it is, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's
so
good.
Silver in that. Tell me about that trip.
Well, that's an interesting place to go to curl. Naseby, New Zealand. There's about 60 people that live in this town. We went after we won to go to Sochi as well and won the tournament that year. So then we got invited back as defending champions and lost to Estonia in the final. We were really hoping to win that tournament because that's who you're going to be playing at the Olympics, basically.
You went 7-0,
yes,
or 8-0 before the final.
Yeah.
And then
bombed it.
And then had a rough go.
Had a rough
down
go.
5-1, caught up, took the lead 6-5.
I know.
And then lost. They scored a deuce in the final frame.
Yeah, so that sucked. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, we did pretty good to get there. And we did a lot better than the last time we were there, even though we won the tournament. But yeah, we just found out how much stronger we are now. Yeah. Basically.
Gave you more confidence.
Yeah, I mean, you lose finals all like it just happens. It's something you just can't really think about. To get back in the game after 5-1 is pretty good.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So how random is the sport of curling? Like when you're playing, do the same teams come out on top, 9 times out of 10 kind of thing, or?
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Jennifer Jones, Rachel Homan, Val Sweeting. You see these big names in women's and men's. Kevin Cooey, John Morris. Like, you see the big names coming out on top all the time. It's also because they're playing in those tournaments every weekend.
Right.
So you're going to see similar names. I think with like the B slams, like the tier 2s, you'll start to see that change. Like in the future, in the next 4 years, I think you'll see younger teams coming out. But for now, it's definitely consistent every weekend.
And what can you do to improve and to get better?
You just have to play. You have to commit everything to it and just play. Like, you have to realize you're not going to be a millionaire overnight in curling, but it is possible to make a very good living doing it if you're just persistent. Like, you have to really love the sport of curling to do it as much as we do it.
Yeah.
Like, when you see these people curling on TV every weekend, it is a huge commitment. You're on the ice for hours. You're away from your family. We're on a plane every 3 days. Like, it's huge.
And that was just the environment you were raised in with your dad. And do you have siblings that play as well?
No, I have a brother, but he doesn't. He's like a big sports fan guy. He's a sports analyst, actually.
Oh, okay.
He does statistics and stuff.
Did you ever get him to analyze your games, see what you're doing?
Honestly, I'm like, are people betting on our curling games? Like, I think people can. Like, he does the numbers and stuff. So
what did he say?
He didn't say much.
People bet on anything. I'm sure there's somewhere out there that's betting on curling.
Oh, yeah.
It's an underground curling bet ring society, right?
I think so. It's weird.
So you guys did your mom played and your dad played, your brother doesn't play.
Yeah.
So family gatherings around Christmas time, you guys all hitting the rink to go throw some stones, or how does that work?
No, I mean, we curl enough. You don't need to be doing it at Christmas time. But I just grew up around them. Definitely my grandparents curled forever. I don't know when they probably just stopped like last year.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. And
so they had like a seniors league that they called in?
Yeah.
And that's amazing. Good for them.
It was crazy, and I used to spar with them and stuff. And then my uncles, like, so my dad has 3 brothers, so obviously 4 people makes a curling team. So my dad and his 3 brothers curled.
Right.
And that was interesting. They're very well known for their antics.
It's such an interesting sport. Like, there's a lot of characters, it seems, in it.
Yeah, definitely. And people just don't realize, like, it's crazy. Like, people get really fired up out there.
Yeah. So
a lot of broom slamming, broom breaking.
Has there been anything insane that's happened? Any like blow-ups or controversies or incidences?
When the brooms, did you hear about the broom situation in the last few years?
No.
So everyone found out that the brooms that we were using actually were scraping the ice and causing the rock to do crazy things.
Okay.
Like, you could just lob a rock out there and guide it right into wherever you wanted to by the way you were sweeping.
You say the brooms you were using? Like
everyone.
What? Everyone.
And
okay.
I don't know who figured it out exactly.
Yeah.
But it's called directional sweeping. So you could literally just sweep a rock. It didn't matter how you threw it. You could just sweep it and lob it in there.
Interesting. And so this was a strategy teams were using. Everyone knew about it. No one talked about it?
Yeah. Until people found it, like, it was a huge disadvantage for these teams. Like, Ben Hebert is a very strong sweeper. He played with Kevin Martin for years. He's on Kevin Cooey's team. He was so good at this directional sweeping. Like, they were unbeatable because of these brooms. So they all, like, rallied against these brooms. So now the World Curling Federation has eliminated every broom head except for the ones that everyone has to use. So every single person that you see on the ice is using the same broom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fabric is all the same.
So what was different about these ones?
They had like a coating on them, and it would like actually like scratch, like leave permanent scratches into the ice surface.
And how long is this going on for?
And hair brooms, you can't sweep with those. Those are lethal.
Lethal?
They're so crazy.
What do you mean lethal?
Like, you could literally just stop a rock wherever you wanted it to.
Okay. But isn't that part of the game? Isn't that strategy?
No.
Doesn't it take skill to be able to directionally sweep?
But it takes away from the skill of the thrower because you didn't actually have to do anything.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The women, obviously, they could do it, but power and like strength and how much weight you had on the broom was a big part of it.
See, I wonder where the line is drawn, because like, what about different gear in other sports? Like, what about hockey sticks?
I know.
What about skates? You know, what about a bobsled? What about a skeleton? Like, where's the line?
I think, and I think that was a huge part of this whole thing, but it's just, in those certain things, like, no matter what you do, you're not ever going to get this drastic difference. Like, it was pretty unfair, and I prefer it now. Again, it's just like you're throwing with skill,
right? And
so that's the whole point of curling, is you're supposed to practice your art, and like you're supposed to be able to just put it on the button as a thrower,
right? And
shouldn't just like use a broom to stop it there.
So the sweeper is really only meant to enhance the throw that you've already thrown.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, and you can make a shot with sweeping still. Like, definitely. If you're not sweeping, then you're not going to make it as much. Like, you see the percentages in men's and women's a lot greater than in mixed doubles because you only have one sweeper. So sweeping does a lot.
Right.
But it shouldn't be the only thing that determines
Right. You can make a shot. You can make a shot without sweeping, but you can't make a shot without throwing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good way to put it. So it's fair now, and I like that.
Okay.
So
what's leading up to the January tournament? Any other events before then?
No, actually. So Charlie's fifth man for John Epping at the Roar of the Rings.
What's fifth man? Just like a sub?
Yeah, a sub, just in case anyone gets sick.
Yeah.
So Charlie will be there for the trials. I'm going to we're going to be practicing every single day.
Yeah.
And training. So we go to the gym for a few hours and then leave the gym, and it's right out the front, like right out the door, and we go out onto the ice and practice.
A few hours. So between training and practicing, how much time does curling take up in your day?
Anywhere up to 6 hours. So I'm literally like, that's the thing is, I'm working like two full-time jobs basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
But if you love it, I mean, what else would you do, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
Yeah. Have you put any thought into what you might do when you stop curling?
I did some commentary at the mixed doubles worlds last year.
Okay.
I really, really like that. So I don't know yet. I have all this, like I have some deferred tuition through my funding. I might go back and do something else with school. I honestly haven't thought about it yet.
Right.
So I don't like thinking about it. Curling is interesting where it's the same with any sport. You give up your life and then you're expected to figure it out. So
yeah. Are there any characters in the sport like a John Daly or like a Johnny McEnroe, like anyone who like is just famous for their blow-ups?
Yeah, I would honestly say like there's a few. Like my family used to have those blow-ups. Like they're very well known for them, and yeah, like my uncle Shane and my dad, like they're known for some of the funniest blow-ups out on the ice.
What did they do?
Like my uncle Shane has just like walked off.
Yeah. Like
completely walked off, thrown his broom, walked off. They like just disagree on something, and they're like, okay, well then why are we playing? Shake hands. Like you never know what's gonna happen out there.
I like the intensity though. Oh,
it's crazy. But then like my dad's not like that, so it's very funny. It's just him and his brother, like that combination is could blow up at any time. And do you have that fire in you? Have you ever seen red or when I was in juniors, like I was brutal. I don't know how anyone wanted to play with me, but I was winning at the time, so I feel like that's the only way I got a team. Mm-hmm. I was bad. I had a really bad attitude, and in the last like few years, I don't have that in me anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm very much the opposite. What changed? Did you get humbled along the way? Or? Yeah, you get very humbled. Like you are not good. Like you're a curler in the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. You need to work harder, and you need to realize like if you want to make it, you can't have that attitude. Right. So it's crazy to think about like how I've developed over the years, but that's like any sport. It makes you a better person too off the ice. Yeah. Like I think that's what's fascinating to me about sports is that how they all teach you to be a better person just against that backdrop of whatever sport it is, right? Like, yeah, you know, sports give us so much as we're growing up, teach us, you know, hard work, the value of losing, learning, you know, being cooperative and all that stuff. And it's just neat to see that applies across every sport in just different ways. Totally. Like sports will never lie to you. No. Like yeah, if you suck, good you or suck, you're bad. Right? I mean, yeah, you didn't work hard enough or you did. Like there's no, it's not going to fake anything, right? So it's pretty interesting. Has quitting ever come across your mind? Yeah, oh, definitely. For sure. There's been times where I say like, why am I even bothering? Mm-hmm. But then something happens and I'm like, I got to keep doing this. Right. Where do you get that drive to push through that? Charlie's motivating, like being around Charlie and like knowing that we have this goal as a team is very motivating. I also like think about back when I was like 5, 6, like I had this journal that I kept writing in and it just said, just don't stop until you go to the Olympics. Yeah. And you're thinking like, I have to do this for myself. I've been thinking about this since I was 5. That's wild. 6, 7, 8, like till I was 12, I wrote in this thing and I wrote it every day. Like, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. Yeah. So. Did your dad ever go to the Olympics? Yeah, in 92. to like Albertville, France with Kevin Martin. It was the first ever year that it was in the Olympics. It was a demonstration.
Right?
Yeah.
And then 98 in Japan was when it was an official one, right?
Yeah.
So is there a competitive drive to outdo him at all? Or even
I don't think I ever could. I mean, he's won so much. Like by this time in his career, he had won, with Kevin Martin, they had won everything.
But never in Olympics.
Never in Olympics,
So
yeah, that's true.
You got that shot, right?
I could, like, if I did that, like, he'd be more happy than anyone, I think, for me.
Absolutely. It's like getting dethroned by your protege, right? It's Gretzky always says, if McDavid breaks any of my records, I'll be thrilled. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But until then, the best.
I'm the best. Exactly. And that's what my dad's probably thinking. Like, unless she gets this gold medal, like, I'm the best in the family. So he still is. So, yeah. No, it's motivating, like, to see your dad do that for so long, too. And then you're like, I need to do this because that looks so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best.
Thanks.
You certainly seem to have the drive and intensity, and I don't know what these other teams are like, but we'll all be cheering for you, and
thanks.
And watching you on the road to Pyeongchang.
Thank you.
You were just in Korea, weren't you?
No, I was in Finland.
Finland. Oh, how was Finland?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to this random little island. Åland Islands is what it's called.
Okay.
2-sheet club. Yeah. And we played Korea in the final though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
traveling must be one of the best parts.
Yeah, I love it. I've seen so many parts of the world.
What's your favorite place?
I loved that's tough. Like Switzerland is very cool. Yeah. I loved Istanbul. Like it was wild. Yeah, Charlie actually broke his leg in Sochi and had to get an operation in Turkey.
Seriously?
So I had a couple days there.
Yeah.
To explore.
Does Charlie live here in Edmonton?
He lives, part like half in Calgary, half here.
Right.
But we've basically both moved to Edmonton to train.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We're not seeing our breath yet, so that's good.
No, we're good.
All right, we'll see you, Kalynn.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so you can hear these conversations weekly with amazing people that I dig up. And if you liked what you heard today, please give me a rating. Let me know how you felt, what I could do better. I value your input. Take care.